Morning, Liz.
Good morning.
I really appreciated watching that video that you sent about Zoom. It was great help to think how online learning works from a student's point of view using Zoom. But there's a couple of things that you didn't mention that I come across, and one of them is one of the problems I'm having now, knowing where to look, because the camera on an iPad is weird. I'm looking at the left, and I feel like I should be looking at you, and because you're looking at yourself, and it's just being aware of where you're looking.
Yeah.
And it's even worse if I use my laptop, because on my laptop I've got a screen and a monitor, and I use the monitor because it's a lot bigger. But the camera's over there, so I'll always be looking at the wrong place if I use that. And it's just being aware of these things. And if I do have to use a laptop because I'm using Zoom with lots of people in its work, I often switch the monitor off just so I'm looking at the camera. It looks to be looking away all the time.
Yeah. One thing I do, because I've been doing a lot of filming on my phone, is I put a photograph. Oh, here we are. I'll show you exactly. Put a photograph of my grandchildren above the camera.
Oh, sweet.
And then I look at them, and that makes me look at the camera. But the other thing I've discovered, and I've only discovered it this morning, is it's better to have the camera slightly higher than your head than it is to have it level or below.
Oh, yeah. That's one thing. I'll just demonstrate here. I always have two very big books. just to get it. I was doing Zoom yesterday. And in a very different place to here. And obviously I've moved it in the wrong place now. And I had to put two jigsaws and two books underneath it to get in the camera in the right place. It's one of those things. As you can see, at the moment, I've got a virtual background on, and I'm in the middle of the screen there, if that's better. And I'm using the virtual background for stuff because I'm in the dining room, which is between the kitchen and the living room. And I can't say to people for an hour, you can't go to the kitchen, especially in lockdown. Everybody needs snacks at least every 30 minutes. So that's why I'm using a virtual background today. And also, my real background is a bit messy. So I don't want to reveal how untidy our house is.
Just to help people out, Les, can you explain how you find the virtual background?
On my iPad, this is where I do it. It's top right-hand corner. There's a button called More, and it puts up a menu. And 1, 2, 3. The fourth one down is virtual background. Press that, and there's a series that are set by Zoom, and you can add your own photographs. I'll change it. This is the one I use for work. This is my work background, because that's the office front door, because we're all missing it so much not being in work. I'll go back to the library because it looks more intellectual, but it does have, because particularly if you're training and you've got your microphone on mute, your wife can come past, offer you a cup of tea or a piece of toast, go past, and nobody knows it's happened. Apart from when the tea arrives. Apart from when the tea arrives and the toast arrives. And when we're doing work Zooms, there seems to be a competition to see who can have the wackiest background these days. It really is quite strange. The other thing that I have found is bandwidth. Here at our house, we've got me, my wife, and my son, and we've had the grandkids for a while, and so at stages everybody was trying to get on the internet using all the bandwidth up, and I had to be careful not to get cut off by using too much bandwidth, and trying to find times and say, look, this is when it's a good time for you to use it. Please don't do it because I've got this important call. And we've got a really quite good bandwidth, but I think there was 3 iPads, 2 computers, an Xbox, and sometimes the Skybox records using the bandwidth as well. So it got a bit messy.
Yeah, that's true, I think. And I was at an online meeting at the university yesterday, and it was absolute classic. There was a dreadful buzzing noise, really loud, it hurt your ears. And it turned out it was because one person had logged in twice.
I've done that too.
So you double click, or I don't know what they did, and they're in the meeting twice, and they didn't realise. And the worst was that nobody thought to tell them until, you know, for about 5 minutes. And somebody said they used the chat thing and said, "You're in twice. Switch one of them off," or whatever it was. So that's why this preparation thing is so important, isn't it?
Yeah, and I find that if I have to switch from the laptop to the iPad because the laptop's not working, or vice versa, if you get them on twice, you get horrible feedback. If you've got two separate devices working on the same account, it really doesn't help. It's awful. So the mute button is your friend.
Yes. Yeah. And I think it's real, that mute button is really important, isn't it? Because another thing that I went to, the person giving the lecture had muted everybody, but then some people arrived late and they didn't know that they'd been muted, and so they weren't mute. And one of them either had a very dodgy tummy or a very bad cough. I'm not sure which, but it was very loud. And so, you know, make sure that that you know what your microphone is picking up is really important.
Well, one thing that you really don't know is what the noises on your desk are doing down the microphone. That's you know, right. if you've got a packet of crisps, it'll pick up every rattle of that. And often out meetings we have for work at the moment, people are saying, "Oh, I'm going to sit outside. Wind noise is a problem." Yes. But some people say, "I'm going to go from my desk to outside, pick it up, wander through with the phone or the iPad, and you can hear every step, and nobody else can hear anything." Because the way Zoom seems to work is whoever's speaking cancels everything else out. And if the noise from the person walking about is noisier than the person talking, they're going to overrule it.
That's right, yeah. And I've been in classes with students where somebody thought, "Oh, I'll just be comfortable to listen to this," and sat on the bed, or I'll lay down on the bed, and not muted the microphone, and you can hear every time they scratch or turn over or whatever. So.
Yeah. You need to mute me. And I think if you're lying on the bed, you probably best mute the video, but
it would have been better, I think.
Yeah.
And it's really important to know where your microphone is on your computer, isn't it? Because
it is.
Sometimes the microphone is on the side, and so even if you're turning over a piece of paper, it makes a horrendous noise because it's just next to the computer, and you don't realise.
I do find generally the iPad is a lot easier to work with for Zoom than the laptop. Right. It just seems to work more intuitively, but that might just be me because I use the iPad a lot more for that sort of program. The benefit of the laptop and things that aren't Apple is you can get more people on the screen. On the iPad, you're limited to 9 on any one screen, so I have to scroll over.
Right.
So the church prayer meeting we had Monday night, I think there was 22 different people, so there was 3 screens you had to scroll across.
Right.
I did split out into breakout rooms, so that was okay. So like 3 or 4 people in a room, that's manageable. But when we're all together, I just stayed quiet because the chatter was doing me nuts, as they say. People were chatting, and you could see one of them, but you couldn't see the other, and the voice was coming off in the side. And I thought, no, I'll just stay quiet.
Yeah. What's your
strain for me?
What's your experience of knowing when to speak or being invited to speak, or that kind of thing?
When we're doing more formal meetings, work sort of management team meetings, we tend to be invited to speak, go around and invited to speak. And if it's an open session, you try and signal, wave your hand, something like that, so that the person can see that you need to speak. And that's when it makes a big difference that you're all on the same screen.
Yeah, and there's the chat function. Have you used the chat function as well?
Yeah, we use the chat function. It's like text messages into Zoom, isn't it? It comes up at the top. I think if you're in a laptop, it's in blue. On my iPad, it's in black. And you put a message on saying, have you thought about this? And quite often people don't see the chat messages, so you might sometimes have to send them 2 or 3 times for people to, especially if they're in full flow and we're talking away.
Yeah. I think
waving your hands about.
Because in classes, obviously the easiest thing to do in that is to have somebody who's doing the teaching and another tutor who's looking at what chat messages are coming in, and then they can say, can you just address that? But I was wondering about whether it would be beneficial if one of the students in the group would do, you know, like 10 minutes, I'll look after the chat for 10 minutes, and then you look after it for 10 minutes. Rather than
I think so, because you can't justify having 2 tutors on a call all the time just for the chat. And I think it would definitely be something that needs to be monitored to make sure that, you know, that whoever is in charge of the chat, make sure those points are raised or addressed. And again, I think if you can keep group sizes down to less than 9, that would work. If they are bigger, encourage people to use laptops where they've got that bigger screen facility to be part of it.
Yeah, that's great. Is there anything else you wanted to think about from a student's perspective?
Well, I think it is important to have video as the medium of communication, because we did a couple of Skype ones where it was harder to feel you were involved. When people can see you, know people can see it, so you don't do quite so much wandering off, or if you do wander off, is you let people know. But on Skype, you could really be disengaged and not involved, because the Skype without video, sorry, I meant to say that, just voice Skype.
Yeah.
And also, there was no way of signalling who wanted to speak when. So the person with the loudest voice is easily go to sort of overrule on those things. Yeah. So, so you make sure it's video, make sure that there are protocols for who can speak and when, particularly if you go to do like a bit of a presentation and a bit of a chat. If it's just chatting around, I think that's fine. But if it's proper tutorial kind of asking questions, I think everybody muted and raise your hand so you can ask a question works better. So you get more different voices into the conversation.
That's great.
And also make sure you don't do that. You need to see people's faces. That's the beauty of it all. And it's not as good as face-to-face, but in the circumstances, it'll work quite well, I hope.
I think one of the things from the tutor's point of view, the really important thing is, as you say, have proper protocols. So that students know when they can speak and that the opportunity is going to arise to speak in that session. But it might not be when you want it to be. And so either use the chat function or even write your question down on a piece of paper next to your computer, so that when the tutor says, right, any questions, they can do it. No issue with that at all. And I think the other thing, it was interesting when we were in the meeting the other day, there were only, I think there were 7 or 8 of us, weren't there?
Yeah.
At that level, it was perfectly possible for not to have a chairperson. For you spoke to somebody else directly at one point. But in a class, it's essential that you allow the tutor to be the chairperson, I think. Even if it's...
And what I would say is, the protocols, you say that at the first session, but you sort of maybe put a screen up at the start or something like that to remind people, you know, every time, or it goes out with the invite so people know what's going on.
Yeah, I think that's what we might do. But and one thing I think is really important is that...
Sorry, I've just had a message from my wife. It's relevant, I'll tell you in a minute.
I think one of the important things is that tutors remember to video the call, and that students agree to that, because if there's a bandwidth problem or if somebody drops out, then at least they can go back, and it won't be as good, obviously. But they won't have missed everything. Whereas if
somebody can't make it for whatever reason, you know, there's all sorts of legitimate reasons these days that it might, you know, depends when you're doing, they might be called into work, something like that.
Yes, yeah. So I think on that screen at the beginning, it might say, you know, we are going to record this. If you continue participation indicates that you agree to that or whatever.
Yeah. So, but just a reminder of what the rules are, because not wanting to be rude about other students, they don't all remember and don't all do the same things.
No, that's exactly right.
Yeah. What I was saying is, not everyone can put a virtual background on. It depends on the age of their iPad, etc.
Ah, right. Yes. Oh, that's helpful. Yeah, that's really helpful.
Yeah. But see, it does look like I'm in a very intellectual kind of library at the moment, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. All the books look a bit.
Yeah, but I just appeared on it there.
Oh, she just appeared because she's too close.
Yeah, you got on, yeah. Yeah, I think, and you know, tutors have got to familiarise themselves with this as well, and not assume. We're not putting lectures online. That doesn't work. We're doing other things. So you know, we need students to prepare properly for each session, to have learned stuff. We need that.
Yeah. And it needs Moodle to be up to date in advance.
It does, yeah. Moodle must be up to date and in advance, and the materials have got to be there. And reading needs to be available. There's no reason why the reading, which is the key text, shouldn't be available from the beginning of the module.
Yeah.
I don't think.
It really, and one of the things which isn't particularly about Zoom, it's about the library that we have access to at Church House. That I've got about 8 books from sitting next to me here. That's not going to be available to us online, is it?
No, I think that's why we have the 2 Moodles. And so the key text will be in the hub, the bit that's called the hub, in chester.learn. whatever else it is at the end. And so people need to familiarise themselves with the hub and find out how to access books, how to read books online. If there are other things that you need and we can scan them, or we have scanned them, then we'll make those available as well.
I noticed it says that SPCK books are coming available. So any idea when?
No idea at all, I'm afraid. No.
No. Oh, there's a book somebody was recommending. It was an SPCK. I thought, oh, that'd be really good, but it's not quite there yet, is it?
No. I mean, they've been promising it for over a year, so I don't know.
It seemed to take a while for the SCM to turn up, and then they were all there really helpful. But
So I mean, I'm going to ask. Obviously, there's an expectation that some books are bought and that students have extra copies of things. And I work with an online book because I write all over every page. That work for me.
I try not to, but I still do sometimes.
But it's for me, it's part of engaging with the text, you know. And we're constantly.
Actually, Robin had a great way of then making notes on books. He does it on notes, and then he was circulating them, and I started doing it his way.
Right.
So that was a good recommendation.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, we'll get him to do a video next on how you do that.
Yeah, he just read the book, and when he wanted to make a note, instead of highlighting it in the book, I think he just typed it in, you know, with page reference and a bit of a summary. It was really good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he could do a couple of minutes on that then, I think.
Yeah. It helped me when I was doing particularly online books as well, but it really helped. Because some ones you seem to be able to cut and paste out of, and some ones you just can't. You have to do screenshots, which is good.
Yeah, no, that's right. And that's a study skill as well, and it's an important online study skill, but just engaging with the text as you're reading it, instead of reading it and then thinking, I'll go back to that, because actually you never will go back to it because you're busy writing your assignment and you've forgotten what blooming page it was on. So. Yeah,
it's the page number that's the key.
Yeah.
Even if all you write down is the page number, that's what you need to do. I was reading a book the other day and I said, I remember it was on the right-hand side of a page about a third of the way through. And I did manage to find it, so that was a bonus. It's unusual.
I do that a lot. Yeah, no, that's really helpful stuff. So thanks.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add, or anything?
No,
else?
I think that's it.
I mean, I am going to share, obviously, the previous video that you referred to on this. I'm going to share with tutors as well.
Yeah, that's fine.
This is a learning experience for us as much as it is for students. So.
Well, absolutely, and I think we're all learning in different ways. I'm much more happy as a member of a class than I am hosting a Zoom, if you know what I mean. I'm much easier to something else somebody's done.
Yeah.
And setting it all up, do it every now and again and think, have I done this right?
Yeah.
I've got one at 11:30 today that I have to check because I've set it up, so I'll see if I can do it actually.
Yeah. Okay, that's really useful. Thank you.